When we talk about leadership, we usually jump right to skills, right? Techniques, strategies, the outward stuff. But what if the most important work a leader ever does isn't what they do, but who they're becoming on the inside? Today, we're going to unpack a framework that flips the script and puts a leader's inner life, their formation, right at the center of it all. So, listen to this. These are the words of the theologian Dietrich Bonhoeffer, and he wrote them from inside a Nazi prison. He's wrestling with this huge gap, right, between the strong, calm leader everyone saw and the reality of what was going on inside his own head. And that quote, man, it just perfectly captures this tension that every single leader feels. And that really begs the question, doesn't it? What's the real measure of a leader? Is it that strong face they show the world? Or is it the battle nobody sees? And what we're going to see here is that the real answer is, of course, it's both. They're two sides of the same coin. Yeah, leadership is absolutely a battle, and it's fought on two fronts. You've got the internal one, that struggle Bonhoeffer was talking about, but then there's the external one. There's always going to be opposition. Just think about Nehemiah in the Bible. The guy was just trying to rebuild a wall, and he got mocked, he got threatened. This two-front war, it's just part of the deal for leaders. Okay, so this is where we make a really important pivot. We have to start thinking about leadership less as a checklist of things we do, and more as the natural overflow of the person we are. And that's where the real work, the deep work begins. To really get this, we have to understand the difference between two words, reputation and character. See, your reputation, that's your public brand. It's what people think you are. But your character, that's who you are when nobody's looking. And the core argument we're exploring is that real, lasting leadership has to be built on the bedrock of character. Reputation alone just won't hold up. And all of this boils down to one simple but really powerful idea. This right here. Your ability to lead other people is capped by the level of your own inner development. I mean, think about it. You just can't take people somewhere you haven't been yourself. It's impossible. So if this inner formation is so crucial, how in the world do we actually work on it? How do we do it on purpose? Well, the framework we're looking at offers a solution. It's a biblical roadmap for developing character, and it's called the formation chain. And here it is. It comes from this short passage in 2 Peter. Now, the key here is that this is not a checklist where you just tick the boxes. It's a chain. It's a compounding sequence where each link builds on the strength of the one that came before it. Every single link matters. So let's walk through it. So the whole thing starts here with pistis, or faith. And we're not talking about just a passive belief system. This is an active, disciplined trust. It's this deep, gut-level reliance on God's character, especially when life is yelling at you to believe the exact opposite. This is the foundation for everything else. Now, you take that foundation of faith, and you add the next link, arete, or goodness. You can think of this as faith with its boots on the ground. It's where you move from just believing the right stuff to actually doing the right stuff. It's a moral excellence that people can see, and it often involves real, costly action. And taking that action, that step of goodness, it unlocks the next link, gnosis, or knowledge. But this isn't about memorizing facts or getting smarter. It's a deep, experiential wisdom you can only get through obedience. It's knowing something is true because you've actually lived it. And from that deep knowing comes self-control, the ability to master your impulses. That then forges perseverance, which is the grit to keep going when it's hard. This then leads to godliness, which reorients your whole life. And all of it, the whole chain, culminates in love. Both brotherly love and that selfless, sacrificial love for others. Okay, so that's the chain. But what does this process actually look like in the real life of a leader? How does building this internal chain change how they show up and the impact they have? And the difference is just, it's night and day, right? You can see this massive shift in their core motivation and where they place their trust. The leader moves from being self-reliant to God-reliant. From being fiercely independent to being deeply dependent. The entire engine of their leadership changes from the inside out. And this is exactly why you can't cheat the system here. This is why the sequence is so important. If you try to be good or virtuous without that deep foundation of faith, you're just running on willpower. And we all know that's going to burn out the second things get really hard. And what good is knowledge that just stays in your head? If it's not built on the experience of real action, it's just theory. It's useless. Every link truly needs the one before it to be strong. So this is where it gets personal. This whole framework is designed to make us stop and ask ourselves some pretty direct questions. And this is a big one. It's easy to have good intentions, we all have them. But where is the gap between what you intend to do and what you actually do? It's a really important question to sit with. Now, let's be clear. All this hard inner work isn't just about self-improvement. The whole point is to connect this deep character formation to a leader's real-world effectiveness. The goal is to build a life that is actually fruitful and productive. And here it is. This is the explicit promise that's attached to the formation chain. The Bible says that if you have these qualities and they are growing, they will keep you from being ineffective and unproductive. So, in other words, this inner character work is the direct path to a fruitful and effective life and leadership. But you gotta notice the key phrase in there, in increasing measure. This is so important. There's no graduation day here. This isn't a program you complete. It's a direction you point your life in. The goal is lifelong, continuous growth, not checking a box that says done. So how do you actually do this? Well, the idea here is to get into a simple weekly rhythm. You could start your week, maybe on a Sunday, and just assess. Take an honest look and ask, where am I right now with this quality? Then, during the week, you act. You pick one specific intentional thing to do. And finally, at the end of the week, you reflect on what happened and what you learned. It's a really simple but powerful loop. Assess, act, reflect. And so, we end up right back where we started, with this really provocative question. In a world that is obsessed with what we can see, with metrics, with success, with the outside, what if the most powerful, most lasting work a leader can ever do is the quiet, unseen, lifelong work of building their own character? What would change for you if you really believed that was true?